let's keep working through the cash budget. We're going to pull some of these things down here from cash flow statements real quick, mostly quarterly cash flow statements. And that way we can kind of spread out how the cash hits. So, back to Edgar Online. Get some more quarterlies. Could have kept them from last time, but you know, that's alright. So we'll open up a quarterly, and quarter 3. Oh, not those financials. Statements of cash flows. Alright. So a lot of this gets picked up. Alright, so net income picks up a lot of the stuff we were talking about last time. Things like purchases and things like that all get rolled into net income, revenues, etc. Depreciation and amortization, we don't care because we're doing cash budget and those are non-cash. And then there's some little things here that may or may not be all that relevant and may not happen generally every year. But if we go down here, you know, capital expenditures, okay. This can be for a company a very, very big line. It doesn't look like it's a huge piece for Yum, but we're still talking about $172 million, so it's not nothing either. So we can kind of look again, and this is 1 quarter. So this is quarter 1, 3 months ended in March of 2014. So they spent $172,000 in capital expenditures in the first quarter, and it's probably spread out over all 3 months in some form or fashion. Again, we'll just divide by 3. This won't be perfect, but it'll be good enough. Okay. And then what else can we pick up off of here? So we also have dividends. Now we have $164 million in paid dividends, but we need to figure out where that hits because usually that's paid in one chunk. So we just got to figure out which month they paid that dividend. So if we just go to Yahoo Finance, we can type in Yum. Historic prices, and we can figure out what day that dividend was paid. And the cash is probably slightly after the day that it shows on here, but that's alright. Hope they'll be in the same month. Hope they didn't put it on the 30th or something in here. Then we might have to defer it a month. But dividends only. So first quarter of 14, they paid a dividend in January. So we can put that in January of 14. So dividend was $164 million. 164, and that means they did not pay one in February or March. They did pay one in April, so we'll come back to that. Okay. And I think that's all we're going to be able to pull out of here. Yep. Okay. So, a couple of these are weird, especially when you're doing big companies. So taxes and interest, things like that are sometimes really easy to do. This we're going to build in later, so don't worry about this right now. But interest and taxes, you know, we see taxes on a company every year, how much they paid in taxes, but that's a weird number. It's not really what they paid in taxes, it's what they owe in taxes for the year's income. They don't actually pay it till later, and there's weird structures that go around that. So it's hard for us to get really detailed into where these hit without digging real deep on interest and taxes. And so I'm just going to do them roughly today. This will be good enough. Not Google, finance.google. Google Finance has in their income statement, or no, their cash flow statement, they show a supplemental piece with a general idea of what that was for the year for those. So if we go to Yum here in Google Finance real quick, financials, we should be able to pull their cash flow statement and see how much they actually paid in 2014. This is still income statement. Cash flows. There we go. Down here. So cash interest paid, cash taxes paid. So we can actually see they paid 149 in interest and 684 million in taxes. And we don't really know where those hit, because these are quarterly cash flows. You'll see that they don't have them on a quarterly basis for 15. So we just get the annualized number. So we're just going to spread them out evenly. It's not perfect, but it'll be good enough. If you really dig, you might be able to get through the notes down here. So if we go to like income tax notes, financial statements, we might be able to dig and find some more information. But a lot of times what these are talking about are just, again, what is our obligation to income taxes, not necessarily when do we pay the cash. So anyway, we'll just grab those numbers off of here. So 149 for interest, 684 for taxes. 149, 684. 149, 684. Okay? So that's what these are going to be. And then we'll just do equals that for now divided by 12. Again, if you really needed to get a better number, we could dig a bit. That's just coincidence. Well, that's fun. Okay, equals that divided by 12. Okay, and then we can just drag those over. And then we'll pull the rest of the other quarterlies and then the annual on the other. So that takes care of those two lines. So we need to go get the other dividend and capital outlays. So go to quarter 2. Cash flows, and if you don't see, if you can always hit Control F and capital, and there's capital spending. So if you're having trouble, reading through these because they're small, just hit Control F and type in what you're looking for. So that's 408 in quarter 2. Okay, equals that, and the dividend payment, dividends, 327. Oh, this is 6 months ended, isn't it? Oh, okay, 6 months ended. I say those numbers look too big. So that's go back to capital outlays. It's actually 408 for the year through 6 months, so we actually have to subtract the first 3 months off. Okay, so we got to subtract what we put in the first 3 months and then divide by 3. There we go, that looks better. Say dividend, they didn't pay twice the size dividend in the second. And again, they paid the second dividend, so they're going to pay it basically every 3 months. So 14, January, April, July, October. So we're going to hit April, which is right here. And so this is going to actually be dividend payment through 6 months is 327. So this is going to be 327 minus 164. So they paid that, 0, 0. And we go to the third quarter. Cash flows. Capital spending is now 655 again, 9 months ended. So we got to get rid of the first 6 months to get this quarter. But 655 is now our capital. So equals 655 minus the sum of the first 6 months. Oh, like that. Divided by 3, 82. Okay. And our dividend payment was in July. We're now at 490 on the year. multiply equals 490 minus this minus this. So that's looking good. 0, 0, and then we just need the annual number that we need to end up at. And we actually have that right here. Alright, so total dividends, cash dividends paid, ended up being 669. Okay. And you'll see this dividend payment was a little bit bigger than the last three. So you can always check what the dividend payment was. And in October you'll see that they paid 41 cents per share instead of 37 cents per share. So that makes sense. And now we can also highlight all these and make sure 669 we get to the right number. And then our total capital expenditures for the year. Capital expenditures for the year was $1,033 million. Okay, so this equals 1033 minus the sum of all of these divided by 3. There you go. Like I said, we'll come back up. This is going to be a calculated from below, so we're going to wire this in here in a second. But for now, we're just going to then sum all of these. Okay. These are all of our disbursements. So this is all the cash out. Control right down. Control shift left. Control R. All right. And so there's all our disbursements. Oh, this should not be that. This should just be collections. There we go. Okay, so there's all our collections. There's all our cash in. Here's all our cash out. And so we'll be able to then wire all of this up using that information in the next video. All right. We will see you next time.